They called her the Diamond Queen of Los Angeles. Isabella Monroe wasn't just the wife of the city's richest businessman. She was untouchable. She had the mansion, the fortune, and the respect of everyone around her. But she made one deadly mistake. She forgot that the person bringing her coffee sees everything. Tonight, a billion-dollar empire is going to fall. A marriage is going to end, and the most powerful woman in the city is going to lose it all. And it happens because of a simple coffee cup. You won't believe how this barista brought down a business queen. The fog in Beverly Hills didn't hide the luxury. It just made the streetlights glow softer against the expensive cars parked along the pristine streets. The air outside smelled like jasmine and ocean salt, mixed with the faint exhaust of passing Mercedes and Bentleys. Inside Essence, the most exclusive cafe in California, everything was different. The air was warm, carefully climate-controlled to exactly 72 degrees. It was scented with vanilla beans, freshly ground Ethiopian coffee, and the subtle perfume of success that seemed to cling to everything in this neighborhood. Maya Rodriguez held the bronze serving tray until her fingers ached from the pressure. The tray was heavy, antique, probably worth more than her monthly paycheck. She had been working at Essence for 3 years now, long enough to know every scratch on that tray, every customer's usual order, every way the light hit the imported Italian marble floors at different times of day. She checked her reflection one more time in the polished surface of the professional espresso machine. Her uniform was immaculate, pressed and starched that morning. Her dark hair was tied back in the regulation low bun, not a single strand out of place. Her apron was spotless white, though she knew it wouldn't stay that way for long. But her eyes told a different story. They showed exhaustion that went bone deep. She was 26 years old, but felt 40 on days like this. Working 12-hour shifts, sometimes 6 days a week, always with a smile plastered on her face, no matter how rude the customers were. All of it to pay her mother's medical bills. All of it to keep the creditors from calling. All of it to survive in a city that chewed up and spit out people like her every single day. And tonight, of all nights, was the night she had been nervous about for an entire month. "Private booth is ready," Mrs. Chen whispered, adjusting her glasses. "Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not stare at Mr. Monroe. And please, Maya, do not anger her." She didn't need to say the name. Isabella Monroe. The mood in the cafe changed the moment the glass doors opened with their distinctive soft chime. It was as if someone had turned down the temperature by 10 degrees. The comfortable warmth became uncomfortable cold. The gentle conversations at nearby tables stuttered and stopped. Even the barista making a cappuccino paused mid-pour, foam forgotten. It felt like the warmth had been physically sucked out of the room and replaced with ice. 2 executive assistants entered first, both tall women in designer suits that cost more than Maya's entire year's salary. They moved with practiced efficiency, scanning the room for threats, checking exits, evaluating everyone present with cold, professional eyes. Their heels clicked in perfect sync on the marble floor. Then came Marcus Monroe himself. Maya had seen his photographs in business magazines, in newspapers, on websites, but photographs didn't capture his presence. Marcus was not what the business press described. They called him a ruthless tycoon, a corporate shark, a man who crushed competitors without mercy. They talked about his hostile takeovers and his reputation for firing executives who disappointed him. But looking at him now, Maya saw something different. He didn't look like a cutthroat businessman. He looked like a tired gentleman carrying too many burdens. He wore a navy blue suit that had been tailored so perfectly it looked like it was part of his body. Every line, every seam, every button was positioned with mathematical precision. His silver hair was combed neatly back from his forehead, revealing a face lined with wisdom and worry in equal measure. He had sharp features, a strong jaw, piercing gray eyes that seemed to see everything and process it instantly. His face showed tired intelligence, the kind that came from decades of making impossible decisions and living with their consequences. He owned tech companies that employed thousands. He owned real estate firms that shaped entire city skylines. He had a hand in half the entertainment industry in California, financing movies and television shows that millions watched. Yet despite all that power, all that influence, he walked with quiet, understated dignity. There was no swagger, no arrogance, just a man moving through space with purpose. But every single eye in the cafe, including Maya's, was drawn to the woman beside him. Everyone's attention locked onto the woman who walked at his side with her hand possessively on his arm. Isabella Monroe was a study in contrasts. She was incredibly stunning in that way that only money could buy. Her beauty was perfect, polished, and somehow artificial, like a diamond that was too flawless to be real. Her dark hair flowed over her shoulders in waves that defied gravity, clearly maintained by the most expensive stylists in Los Angeles. Each strand seemed to catch the light individually. Her makeup was theatrical, painted with professional precision. High cheekbones highlighted with subtle contouring, lips painted a bold crimson that matched her designer dress exactly, eyes lined with wings sharp enough to cut. Emeralds hung from her ears and neck, probably worth more than most people's houses. They caught the cafe's carefully positioned lighting and threw green sparkles across nearby tables. Her dress was haute couture, the kind you saw on red carpets at award shows. It clung to her figure perfectly, showcasing a body maintained by personal trainers and private chefs. But there was something cold about her beauty, something calculated. It was beauty designed to be admired from a distance, not to be loved up close. And most noticeably, she walked with a pronounced limp, leaning heavily on an elegant walking stick. The walking stick was its own work of art, clearly custom-made, with a gold handle shaped like a swan's head. Each step she took seemed labored, painful, carefully measured. Marcus's face stayed calm, but he held her arm to support her. "It's tile, Isabella. It's level. Just walk carefully." "I can't believe you brought me here," she snapped, tossing her scarf at a server without looking. "It smells like coffee beans and mediocrity." Maya breathed deeply. She was the senior barista for VIP customers. She had served demanding celebrities and angry executives. She could manage a billionaire's wife. She walked to the booth, setting down the specialty menus with smooth grace. "Good afternoon, Mr. Monroe. Mrs. Monroe, welcome to Essence. May I start you with drinks?" Isabella interrupted her, not raising her eyes from her tablet. "Green tea, hot, not scalding, and if I taste any bitterness, I'm returning it. And replace this napkin, it feels rough." Maya stopped. The napkin was premium linen. "Of course, ma'am." Marcus looked up. His eyes were gray, almost silver, and for a moment they met Maya's. There was no anger in them, just deep, quiet sadness. He looked like a man who was living in a prison of his own choices. "Maya, correct, Marcus?" asked his voice, smooth and gentle. Maya tensed. He knew her name. "Yes, sir." "Don't worry about the napkin. It's perfectly fine," Marcus said, gesturing slightly. "Just bring the coffee menu, the Ethiopian blend." Isabella slammed her tablet on the table. The noise cut through the quiet cafe. "Excuse me? You're contradicting me in front of the staff? In front of this girl?" "I'm trying to have a peaceful afternoon," Marcus said, his jaw tightening. "I am Mrs. Monroe," she hissed, leaning closer. "When I say the napkin is rough, it is rough. And you," she turned her sharp gaze at Maya, "stop looking at my husband. I know what you're planning. You think you can smile and get extra money? You're nothing. Now bring me tea." Maya lowered her eyes immediately. She walked back to the counter, her heart pounding.
"She's terrible today," Diego, the assistant manager, whispered as he prepared pastries. "Word is the gala is next week. She's stressed because Marcus hasn't updated his will yet. She's trying to secure everything." "She's cruel," Maya muttered, picking up a fresh teapot. "Be careful, Maya," Diego warned, pointing with a spoon. "Marcus Monroe is a powerful man, but he has principles. Isabella has none. She'll destroy you for fun. I heard she got a driver fired last month because he coughed while she was on the phone call." I nodded, smoothing her apron. I needed this position. I needed the income. I would stay silent. I would be invisible. But invisible people see things that others try to hide. When Maya came back to the booth, the tension was thick. Isabella was performing her injury.
"My shoulder is hurting again," Isabella moaned, touching her left shoulder. "The one with the nerve damage from that skiing accident. It's getting worse. Marcus, you'll need to help me with everything today. I can barely lift my arm." Marcus sighed, drinking his water. "You seemed fine at the museum opening yesterday, Isabella." "Medication," she snapped. "I was medicated the entire time. You never pay attention. The specialist said the nerves in my left shoulder are damaged. I have very limited mobility. If I drop something, it's not intentional." Maya poured the tea quietly. She observed Isabella's left shoulder. The arm was positioned carefully on the armrest, looking weak. "I need a lid for this," Isabella demanded, staring at Maya. "I can't hold the cup steady. My shoulder." "I'll get that immediately," Maya said softly. As Maya turned, she saw something. Isabella reached for her designer purse with her left arm. It was a quick, smooth movement, pulling the bag closer to her side, as if hiding something. The motion was swift, controlled, not the movement of someone with nerve damage. Maya paused briefly, confused, before heading to the prep station. Why fake a shoulder injury? Maya knew wealthy people enjoyed attention, but this seemed deliberate, planned. When she returned with the lid, the appetizers had arrived. Fresh fruit parfait with honey. "This tastes sour," Isabella announced, pushing it away. She picked up her spoon with her right hand and poked the yogurt. "Marcus, send it back. I want the avocado toast, and tell the chef to make it properly, since apparently I'm helpless to you." Marcus rubbed his forehead. "Isabella, please just eat something." "I can't." She dropped the spoon on the plate loudly. "My left arm is useless, and my right arm is exhausted from managing this relationship alone." It was theater, a loud, dramatic performance designed to break Marcus into obedience. Maya stood near the column, watching. She had grown up in a working-class family in San Diego. She understood how to read people. She knew the difference between genuine pain and pretending. Isabella wasn't suffering. She was playing games. Then, the first mistake in the act happened. A trainee server, a young woman named Lily, who had started recently, was cleaning the table beside them. She was anxious. As she moved, her hand bumped the edge of Marcus's table. A ceramic sugar bowl wobbled on the edge of the clock table. Physics took over. The bowl tipped and fell directly toward Isabella's lap. Time seemed to slow. Maya watched from across the room. If Isabella truly had a damaged shoulder, she would react slowly, awkwardly. She would flinch, but not catch anything. But Isabella's paralyzed left arm shot up instantly. It was pure reflex, survival instinct. She caught the falling sugar bowl in her left palm. Her grip was firm. Her arm was stable. The room froze. Isabella sat there, the disabled wife, holding a ceramic bowl in a perfect catch with her damaged arm. Marcus saw it. The assistants saw it. The servers saw it. For a long moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The truth hung in the air like smoke. Isabella realized her error immediately. Her eyes widened. She looked at the bowl in her left hand, her perfect, steady, completely functional left hand. Then she looked at Marcus, whose expression had transformed from tired acceptance to cold understanding.
"Oh no," Maya whispered from across the room. She saw it all happening. She saw Isabella's mind racing, searching for an explanation, an excuse, anything to cover the slip. The silence in the cafe felt oppressive. It lasted maybe 5 seconds, but it felt like hours. The soft piano music had stopped. The other customers had noticed the tension. Even the espresso machine seemed quieter. Isabella's fingers tightened around the sugar bowl. Her perfectly manicured nails dug into the ceramic. Her arm, which supposedly had no strength, was holding the bowl in a grip that would require significant muscle control. There was no trembling, no weakness, no sign of nerve damage whatsoever. "Interesting," Marcus said softly. His voice was different now, colder, sharper. The voice of a man who had built a business empire by reading people. "Reflex!" Isabella shrieked. Suddenly, her voice was too loud, too desperate. She dropped the bowl as if it had burned her fingers. It clattered onto the table, sutter spilling across the white tablecloth. "It was pure reflex. The shock must have activated my nerves temporarily. It happens sometimes. The doctor said it could happen. Spontaneous nerve activation. It's in my medical records."
She was talking too fast, over-explaining. Maya recognized the pattern. She had seen it countless times. Liars always gave too many details. Liars always had a ready explanation. Truth was simple. Lies were complex. "Medical records," Marcus repeated. He sat back in his chair, studying his wife with new eyes. "Right, your medical records." Isabella was sweating now. Tiny beads of perspiration appeared on her forehead, disturbing her perfect makeup. "Marcus, don't look at me like that. You're making me feel like a criminal. I caught a falling bowl, that's all. My arm responded to danger. It's instinct. Even paralyzed people can have reflexes." "Paralyzed," Marcus said. "That's an interesting word choice. You've never used that word before. You always said nerve damage, limited mobility, weakness, but never paralyzed." "It's the same thing," Isabella snapped. "Stop twisting my words." "I'm not twisting anything," Marcus said. "I'm just noticing. The same way I noticed you carrying heavy shopping bags last week with your left arm. The same way I noticed you opening jars without asking for help. The same way I noticed you texting on your phone with both hands, even though you told me your left thumb was numb." Isabella's face went red. "You've been spying on me? That's what this is about? You don't trust your own wife?" "Should I?" Marcus asked simply. The question hung in the air like a blade. Isabella stood up abruptly. She forgot her walking stick. She stood completely stable, completely balanced, putting full weight on both legs. Maya noticed immediately. So did Marcus. So did everyone watching. "I don't have to explain myself to you," Isabella said. Her voice had changed. The sweet, suffering victim tone was gone. Now she sounded harder, angrier, more real. "I'm your wife. I've been faithful, I've been loyal, and all you do is question me, doubt me, humiliate me in front of strangers." "Strangers," Marcus said, standing up slowly. He was taller than Isabella, broader, and suddenly much more intimidating. "That's what bothers you. Not the lie, not the deception, but the fact that people witnessed it?" "There's no lie." Isabella's voice rose to a near shout. Several customers looked over nervously. "You're paranoid, Marcus. You're old and paranoid, and you're seeing things that aren't there. Maybe you should see a doctor. Maybe you're the one with the problem." It was a desperate play. Turn the accusation around. Make him the crazy one. Make him doubt his own perceptions. Maya had seen this tactic too. Gaslighting, making the victim question their own reality. But Marcus wasn't falling for it. "I saw what I saw, Isabella. Everyone in this cafe saw what they saw. You caught a falling bowl with your supposedly damaged left arm. Your grip was perfect. Your coordination was flawless. There was no hesitation, no pain, no weakness. Just a fast, practiced, athletic catch." "So what?" Isabella hissed. "So I caught a bowl. That makes me a monster? That makes me a liar? You're blowing this completely out of proportion."
It's not about the bowl, Marcus said quietly. It's about the pattern, the lies, the manipulation, the constant need for sympathy and attention, the way you've been pushing me to change my will, the way you isolated me from my friends, the way you made me feel guilty for not giving you everything you wanted. Isabella's eyes flashed dangerously. How dare you? How dare you accuse me of manipulation when you're the one who controls everything? You control the money, you control the properties, you control my entire life. I control what I built, what I earned, what I created over 50 years of work, and I have every right to protect it from people who want to take it without earning it. The words hit Isabella like a slap, her face twisted with rage. People like me? You mean my wife? The woman who married you? The woman who takes care of you? Takes care of me? Marcus almost laughed. Isabella, you've never taken care of me. You've never cooked a meal. You've never stayed home when I was sick. You've never asked about my day without checking your phone. This isn't a marriage. This is a performance.
And you're not exactly husband of the year, Isabella shot back. You work constantly. You ignore me. You treat me like an accessory, like a trophy you display at parties and then put back on the shelf. That's because that's what you are, Marcus said. The words were brutal, honest, final. You're not my partner. You're not my companion. You're an actress playing a role, and I'm done with the show. Maya stood frozen near the coffee bar, watching this marriage implode in real time. She felt uncomfortable, intrusive, but Marcus had asked her to stay. He was his witness, his protection, his evidence that he wasn't imagining things. Mrs. Chen appeared beside Maya, wringing her hands. Should we call someone? Security? Police? Wait, Maya said quietly. Let them finish. Save your excuses, Marcus said quietly. His voice was different now, cold, final. He stood up slowly. I saw that catch, Isabella, and I've been watching for months. Marcus, you're being ridiculous, Isabella said, standing, suddenly without her walking stick. That server almost injured me. I'm the victim here. I saw you play tennis last Tuesday, Marcus said, his gray eyes hard as steel. You thought I was in Seattle, but I came home early. I watched you from the balcony. You served with your left arm. Perfect form, no pain, no weakness. Isabella's face went pale. That's therapy. My doctor recommended. Your doctor? Marcus pulled out his phone. He showed her the screen. I called Dr. Peterson. He never diagnosed nerve damage. In fact, he said you never had a skiing accident. You told me you fell in Aspen, but the resort has no record of any incident. You lied about everything. Isabella's mask cracked. You investigated me? How dare you? I'm your wife. You're a fraud, Marcus said calmly, and I know why you did it. You wanted sympathy. You wanted me to feel guilty. You wanted me to change my estate planning so you'd inherit everything if something happened to me. You wanted control. You don't know anything, Isabella hissed. Her elegant facade was completely gone now. You think you're so clever? You're a fool, Marcus, a lonely old fool who was desperate for a beautiful wife. I gave you that. I made you look good. You made me look blind. But that barista, he gestured to Maya, she saw through you in 5 minutes. She noticed what I missed for 2 years. Isabella's eyes turned to Maya. They were filled with pure hatred. Her? That nobody? You're choosing a coffee girl over me? I'm not choosing anyone. I'm choosing the truth. And the truth is, our marriage is over. My lawyers will contact you tomorrow. But Marcus wasn't finished. Everyone leave, he said quietly. His voice carried authority. The assistants hesitated. The servers froze. Now, Marcus repeated. Mrs. Chen ushered everyone toward the back. Maya started to follow, but Marcus raised a hand. Not you, Maya. You stay. You're a witness to this. Isabella's eyes narrowed dangerously. A witness? Marcus, what game are you playing? No games. Marcus pulled out a folder from his briefcase. I've been preparing for this moment for weeks, ever since I started suspecting. These are medical records, real ones, from 3 different specialists. None of them show any nerve damage. None of them show any skiing accident. In fact, Isabella, you've never skied in your life. He spread the documents on the table. This is a background check. It cost me $50,000, but it was worth every penny. Your real name isn't Isabella Monroe, it's Victoria Price. You were born in Portland, Oregon, not Paris, France. You were never a model. You were a con artist. And this, he pulled out another document, is your arrest record. Fraud, identity theft, embezzlement. Isabella's face went white, then red, then purple. You had me investigated? You invaded my privacy? How dare you? How dare I? Marcus stood up, his voice rising for the first time. You married me under false pretenses. You faked an injury to manipulate me. You isolated me from my friends. You convinced me to fire my personal assistant because she saw through you. You tried to get me to change my will. And worst of all, you made me doubt my own judgment. Maya stood frozen near the counter, not sure if she should be hearing this, but Marcus had asked her to stay. He was his witness, his protection, his proof that he wasn't alone. I loved you, Marcus continued, his voice breaking slightly. Or at least I loved who I thought you were. The woman who laughed at my jokes, the woman who said she valued honesty above everything. But that woman never existed, did she? Isabella's mask shattered completely. Love? She laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. Marcus, you're 73 years old. You're rich, yes, but you're also boring, predictable, and pathetically lonely. I gave you excitement. I made you feel young again. I played the perfect wife. And yes, I expected payment for that performance. Payment? Marcus repeated quietly. Is that what this was? A transaction? Everything is a transaction, Isabella sneered. You got a beautiful wife on your arm. I was supposed to get financial security. That was the deal. But you're too stubborn, too controlling. You wouldn't give me access to the accounts. You wouldn't put my name on the properties. You kept me on an allowance like I'm a child. Because I knew. Deep down, I always knew something was wrong. My late wife, Catherine, she loved me for 30 years. She never asked for anything. She never demanded control. When she died, I was lost. And you, Victoria, you saw a vulnerable old man and you pounced. Isabella grabbed her purse violently. I'm done with this. You're a fool, Marcus. And you pointed at Maya, you're going to regret sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. I have connections. I have lawyers. I will destroy both of you. Actually, a new voice said from the doorway. A woman in a police uniform stepped into the cafe, followed by 2 detectives. Victoria Price, also known as Isabella Monroe, also known as Diana Blackwell and Christine Vaughn, you're under arrest for fraud, identity theft, and suspected involvement in 2 suspicious deaths. Isabella's face went completely pale. What? No, this is a mistake. Marcus, tell them this is a mistake. But Marcus just stood there, his arms crossed, watching as the detectives approached her. Mr. Monroe contacted us 3 weeks ago, the lead detective explained, showing his badge. He provided us with evidence of your previous marriages. Your first husband, Richard Chen, died of apparent food poisoning. Your second husband, Thomas Vaughn, died of a heart attack. Both changed their wills days before death. Both left everything to you.
Coincidence, Isabella stammered. Tragic coincidences. Perhaps, the detective said. But we exhumed their bodies. We found traces of rare plant toxins, substances that mimic natural causes, substances that require knowledge and access, substances that were also found in your storage unit in San Bernardino. Maya gasped. Isabella wasn't just a fraud, she was a murderer, and Marcus had been her next target. You set me up, Isabella hissed at Marcus. You knew I'd come here today. You knew I'd mess up. This whole thing was a trap. Not exactly, Marcus said calmly. I suspected you were dangerous. I knew you were a liar, but I didn't know how deep it went until Maya noticed your little slip with the sugar bowl. That's when I knew for certain. That's when I called the police." The detective pulled out handcuffs. "Turn around, please." "No," Isabella said. She didn't move. "I won't." "Ma'am, don't make this difficult." Isabella reached into her purse. Maya's instinct screamed. "She has something!" Maya shouted. The detectives drew their weapons instantly. "Hands up, now!" Isabella pulled out a small vial. It was glass filled with clear liquid. "You want to arrest me, fine, but I'm not going to prison. I'd rather die than be locked in a cage." "Put it down," the detective commanded. "That's not your choice to make." "Everything is my choice," Isabella said. Her hand trembled as she unscrewed the vial cap. "I control my own destiny. I always have." Maya didn't think, she just acted. She grabbed the nearest thing, a glass water pitcher from the counter, and threw it. Not at Isabella, at the vial. The pitcher flew through the air, water spraying everywhere. It hit Isabella's hand just as she raised the vial to her lips. The vial flew across the room, shattering against the wall. The liquid hissed and smoked where it hit the tile. Isabella screamed in fury, but before she could move, the detectives tackled her to the ground. The handcuffs clicked shut. "Nice throw," the female officer said to Maya, breathing hard. "You probably just saved her life." "I wasn't trying to save her," Maya admitted. "I just didn't want her to escape justice." As the police led Isabella away, she looked back at Marcus one last time. There was no remorse in her eyes, no regret, just cold calculation. "You think you've won, but you're still a lonely old man, and you'll die alone just like I planned." Marcus didn't respond. He just watched her go. When the door closed, he sat down heavily. He looked 10 years older. Maya approached carefully. "Mr. Monroe, are you okay?" Marcus looked up. His eyes were wet. "I'm alive. Thanks to you, I'm alive. But Maya, I'm not okay. I fell in love with a ghost. I trusted a monster. How do I come back from that?" Maya pulled up a chair and sat across from him. "You come back by remembering you're not the first person to be fooled, and you won't be the last. Smart people, kind people, they get deceived all the time. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human." Marcus wiped his eyes. "My late wife, Catherine, she would have seen through Isabella instantly. Catherine was smart. She was careful. She protected me. And now she's still protecting you, because you learned from her. You became suspicious. You investigated. You protected yourself. That's her legacy." Marcus managed a small smile. "You're wise beyond your years, Maya." "I just pay attention. It's a skill I learned serving coffee to complicated people." The police came back to take statements. The cafe was closed for the rest of the day. News vans arrived within an hour. By evening, the story was everywhere. Billionaire escapes death. Wife arrested for murder. Maya went home that night exhausted, overwhelmed, and strangely empty. She had helped solve a crime. She had possibly prevented a murder, but she also felt sad. Sad for Marcus, who had been so desperately lonely that he fell for a predator. Sad for the system that let someone like Victoria Price slip through so many cracks. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "This is Marcus Monroe. Thank you for today. My lawyers will be in touch. You'll be compensated for your time and courage, but more importantly, you gave me back my life. I won't forget that. Stay safe, Maya." 3 months later, the headlines had changed. The Los Angeles Times ran a detailed investigative piece, "The Black Widow of Beverly Hills, How Victoria Killed for Millions." Maya sat on a bench at Santa Monica Pier reading the article on her tablet. The investigation had uncovered everything. Victoria Price had 5 identities, 3 dead husbands, and a pattern of seduction, manipulation, and murder that spanned 15 years. The trial was scheduled for next year. The prosecutors had overwhelming evidence: toxicology records, financial records, witness statements from people who had seen Victoria's pattern of behavior. She would spend the rest of her life in prison. Justice would be served.
But Maya wasn't thinking about Victoria. She was thinking about all the people who had been victims, the families destroyed, the lives stolen. Maya folded her tablet. She was doing much better now. The legal fees for her testimony had been covered. Her mother's medical treatment was fully paid for thanks to an anonymous benefactor. She even had a full scholarship to USC's business school starting in the fall. She watched the ocean, wondering about the future. "The ocean view is magnificent today," a familiar voice said.
Maya folded the newspaper. She was doing better now. The legal fees had been covered by an anonymous donor. Her mother's treatment was paid for. She even had a scholarship offer for business school. She watched the ocean waves, wondering what would happen next. "The ocean view is better from my beach house," a voice said. Maya looked up. A silver car was parked nearby. Marcus Monroe stood there, looking healthier than before. He wore casual clothes and sunglasses, looking less like a businessman and more like a man enjoying freedom. "Mr. Monroe," Maya said, standing, "I'm happy you're doing well." "Marcus," he corrected. He walked to the bench. "Please, sit." Maya sat. "I owe you an explanation," Marcus said, "and gratitude. You saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life. That anonymous help, the medical bills, the scholarship, that was me." "I can't accept that," Maya said. "It's already done," Marcus said firmly. "It's not charity, it's payment for teaching me an important lesson." "What lesson?" Maya asked. "That kindness and observation matter more than wealth and status," Marcus said. "You noticed details. You cared about truth. Those qualities are rare." Maya looked at the ocean. "I just did what felt right." "Exactly," Marcus smiled. "Which is why I want to offer you something. Not money. A partnership." "What kind of partnership?" "I'm starting a foundation for fraud victims, people who've been manipulated, deceived, financially abused. I need someone who understands people, someone who sees what others miss, someone honest." Maya's eyes widened. "You want me to work with you?" "I want you to help lead it after you finish that business degree. The position pays well, meaningful work, and I promise, the coffee is excellent." Maya laughed. She saw the man beyond the reputation. He wasn't perfect. He was just human. Someone who had made mistakes but wanted to fix them. "I accept," Maya said. Marcus extended his hand. "Welcome aboard, Maya." As they shook hands, the sun reflected off the water, creating sparkles like diamonds. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was real life. But sometimes in real life, honesty wins. And that is how a simple cafe service exposed one of the most dangerous fraudsters in California. Isabella Monroe thought she could act her way to a fortune, but she forgot one important rule. You can deceive the rich, but you can't fool the observant. Maya didn't just help someone. She proved that sometimes the most powerful tool isn't wealth. It's a watchful eye and the courage to trust what you see. If you enjoyed this story about truth and justice, please like this content. It helps share these important messages. Subscribe and enable notifications so you never miss a story. And share in the comments, have you ever noticed someone lying just by watching their behavior?